Hey everybody, this is Beans the Magical Fruit with Austin. Today I'm going to tell you how to make the perfect shepherd's pie. You can see down here we've got our ingredients. We've got some carrots, some Yukon potatoes. You can really use any other potato, but then you would be wrong. Some onion, some cooked ground beef. Usually in shepherd's pie, traditionally it's ground lamb, but I can't find lamb in Rexburg. So I got beef. It's already cooked, as you can see. I'm not going to show you how to do that because you should know how to do beef. Over here we've got some spices. We've got some thyme and bay leaf. That's going to help us bring out the flavor of the beef. Some garlic, that'll give it some zip. Some salt and pepper, because that's what gives it some flavor. And some better than bouillon, because, well, it's better than bouillon. First thing I'm going to show you how to do is cut your vegetables. There's a style to it. You're going to come down and take your baby carrot. You're just going to cut it in half, right like that. You're going to stick it on its ends, that way it doesn't roll around. Then you're going to gently hold it and rock the knife back and forth. You notice I'm not going like that. I'm just rocking it back and forth along that curved edge. Okay? I'll do one more for you. You want to be careful that you're not going to cut your fingers, so you want to try to curl your knuckles to guide the knife. So that way you want to, gotcha. Just be careful with these sharp knives, kids. And keep going like that. A nice, even slice on those carrots. Next, you're going to do your onion. You can see I've already cut it in half. So you're going to cut your onion in half, and then peel back the first couple layers of this crusty nastiness. And just throw it on the ground or in the trash or in your kid's face, whatever you prefer. You know, a lot of people have trouble cutting onions, and the key to not crying when you cut an onion is to not form an emotional attachment. So you're going to take your onion, you're going to cut the end off, and you're just going to go thinly and slice almost all the way through. You're going to leave just a little bit, you can see there. I'm just leaving the end whole. I'm going to do this all the way across. And then you're going to come in and cut it in half like this. And then you just rock your knife back and forth, just like the carrots. And you can see how beautiful that dice is. It's so even and pretty. It is onions, man. So I'm going to saute these vegetables real quick, and I'll be right back. I'm going to show you how to saute these vegetables now. If you look right here, I got a pan with about 4 tablespoons of butter in it. I got the pan really hot, and I added my vegetables. You just kind of stir it around like so until they're done. You know when they're done. You can see here there's a little bit of brown, a little tiny bit of black in there. In the culinary world, this is called caramelization. What it really means is I burned it, but I meant to. That caramelization, it brings out a little bit of the flavors, the aromatics of the carrots and of the onion. If you look at this piece right here, the onion is a little bit transparent. You can almost see through it. And that's how you know that the onion is done. So, now that that's done, I'm going to take that off the heat. I'm going to move it over, right over here. And I'm going to start working on this gravy. You got a pot of boiling water. You add your better than bouillon, because it's better than bouillon. A couple of good spoonfuls. You want it to be really beefy gravy. You can also add brandy or red wine to this, but I have a pregnant wife and I go to school at BYU, Idaho, so I don't do that kind of thing. You got a couple shakes of thyme leaves. About half teaspoon to a teaspoon, depending on how much flavor you want in there. A couple shakes of pepper. Again, this depends on how peppery you want it. I like a lot of pepper. Some salt. Use sea salt or kosher salt if you have it, but normal table salt will do just fine. That is about a teaspoon. Maybe more later, depending on how much flavor is in it. Then you add your garlic. Garlic powder is great. It's easy. You're going to want to add about a teaspoon and a half of this. And then your bay leaves, which I forgot over here. Bay leaves add flavor. People don't use them because they're wrong. You add either one big bay leaf like this, or a couple tiny ones like this. Bless you.
Thanks.
And you just kind of let that simmer. And that will moisten the bay leaf and let it absorb, or let the sauce absorb the flavor. It'll give the time to bloom. And I'll see you in a couple minutes when that's ready. The sauce has been boiling for about a half an hour now, just to mix those flavors in. The first thing you're going to do is take your bay leaf out. Bay leaves have great flavor, but they will give you explosive diarrhea if you eat them. So don't actually eat them. They're just there for the flavor. The next thing you're going to do while that sauce is boiling is make a roux. Roux is French for this thickens sauces. It's really not, but that's what it does. You're going to have melted butter in a saucepan and flour, and that's all it is. Hot melted butter and flour. You're going to make that into a paste. Just stir that. Make sure to use your silicone utensils in non-stick frying pans. That way you don't scratch up the non-stick. You can see it's kind of a loose paste right there. And you just pour that in to your broth and whisk. And that will thicken your sauce significantly. You're going to want this to be pretty thick for a gravy. This is what's going to hold everything together. So, after that thickens, after that roux is all in there, we're going to take it over to the table and build our perfect shepherd's pie. You're going to take that beef that you should know how to cook and just throw it right in that sauce. Next, you're going to take those beautiful sauteed vegetables that we made and throw them in the sauce. Next, you're going to take some canned corn, because canned corn is superior, and frozen peas and green beans, because frozen peas. Excuse my daughter, she had shots yesterday. And just throw them in that sauce. Mix that all together. Look how beautiful that is. And throw it in your baking dish. You don't want to cover it completely. You want to have a little bit of space left over. I made these mashed potatoes. I just took those whole mini potatoes and I boiled them for about 45 minutes to make these mashed potatoes. You just stick that on top, smooth it over, and stick it in the oven. And I'll show you what it looks like after it comes out of the oven. About 20 minutes in the oven at 350, and this is what it looks like. The potatoes are nice and crispy on top, fluffy in the middle. You scoop it out, throw it on a plate, and eat up. This has been an episode of Beans, the Magical Fruit with Austin. Just remember, guys, the more you eat, the more you toot. Thanks.